Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to 31 Days of Cutfiles. Today we are starting our second week of Cutfiles, and this week's Cutfiles were created by me, and I'm super excited to see how everyone uses them. They're really fun, and hopefully you guys enjoy them and find some great things to document with them. So this first one that we're starting with is called Real Life, and I am using it to document these 4 photos of some damage at our cabin property in the Sierras. We had a bark beetle infestation that went through, which, I mean, if you don't know what bark beetles are, they go through the forest and they eat the bark of the trees, and so the tree is no longer protected, the tree dies, and yeah. So we have these huge sugar pines that died right around our cabin. Some of them, I'm going to say, are like 100 feet tall at least. And in that photo on the right hand side, you can see an angular wood piece that is pointing down from the top left of the photo to the bottom right. That is actually the top of one of the trees, came through the roof of the cabin. And we were not up there and had no idea this had happened. The bottom photo also has another one that went through a different room of the cabin. And then we ended up with water damage because we didn't know it happened. We're not up there all year. We're not up there, on a regular basis throughout the year, I should say. And so when we went up there the next time, we had tons of damage. There's some mold damage and other wood, damage to the wood that's going to have to just be replaced and all that jazz. So this is real life when you own a cabin property, and you're not up there all the time because you have a life in another city and you're working and can't make it up there every weekend. So I am just documenting it. It's a very sad state of affairs, and a lot of work to maintain. And my husband and my son go up there and they've been working on it here and there as much as they can. But it's been a very big stressor in my life. And so I'm just documenting the real that is life, even the stressful stuff. You guys don't feel like you always have to document all the happy times, because certainly that is more fun and awesome and the things you want to remember, but it's very cathartic to document the things that happen that may not be as awesome, or things that you are dealing with that you need to kind of readjust your perspective and maybe deal with it in a different way. So for me, I have a really hard time going up there. It's like 3 hours. I drive up there. I work for about 3 hours, and then we end up having to come home because my anxiety gets the better of me. So working on how to get past that so that we can get the stuff done that we need to get done up there. But life is not always easy, and I think it's important to show that and to also talk about your emotions and how things affect you. So I'm not trying to be heavy in this video at all, but this is real life, and it is okay to document the harder things, and then put it on your page and maybe put it into some words, and maybe that will help you through the process of moving forward. So anyway, I am just backing this cut file with the scrap paper out of my scrap bin, and I really like this blue polka dot. It goes with this other piece of blue paper that I decided I wanted to use on this layout. Now I was going to cut the words out of that solid, well, it's not really solid, that kind of paper that looks like a solid that's off on the right hand side, but then I decided we've included all of the letters that go inside this cut file. So what I decided to do was to take my shimmers colorings in Ahoy Matey, which is like a navy blue, and just spray it and use that instead, because the color is very similar to the paper that is on the right hand side there, and I would be able to just go ahead and stick those right inside the cut file and not have to back it, and that is a huge time saver. Now if you didn't want to do that, and you wanted to back it, you could actually get 2 uses out of this cut file that was included, because you can use the insides of the words to create the real life and do that on one page, and then use the outline that we have here and back it by hand. So a couple options there for you. I decided to use a wood grain because I've got a lot of wood grain in this picture, or in these pictures, and then I've got the blue going on. I don't think I'm going to keep it in this orientation though. I'm going to move things around a little bit, but I'm just kind of playing with the placement of everything, trying to figure out exactly how I want it before I put any glue on anything. So I decide I'm going to put my title in the upper right, and I like that better. I'm still not 100% sure of the torn paper, if it's going to go at the bottom or on the side. So I'm kind of looking at that while I'm figuring this out. And it does take me a little bit of time to kind of just sort through and figure out exactly where I want things. And I move them around a few times, and that's all normal. If you aren't, if you think that I just like put things down perfectly the first time, that's not always the case. That's usually not the case, in fact. Yeah, you just don't always get to see it on video. So I'm thinking this is the perspective that I want, or the layout that I want, and I go and I pull out some of these home improvement type of tools that MK has over in her shop that I have in my stash. And they are awesome because you've got some wood planks there. I've got a saw. I've got, I think there's a screwdriver. I don't know, a hammer. There's definitely a hammer. Oh, it's a hammer, a tape measure, and a pencil. And so I'm going to use those because that is going to be my embellishments that are indicating that we have some improvement to do, some home improvement, some work to do. And I really like them. So these wood pieces, they do come with a masking on the top. They look like they are wood right there, but you can actually peel the masking off, and you can use the masking to protect the wood while you're painting other parts of it. So you can, like the saw, you could pull the handle masking off and paint it, and then pull the blade masking off, and you wouldn't have gotten any paint on it. So it's very useful to have that there, but don't forget to pull it off. It does need to be pulled off when you're done with your layout. So I am backing my cut file, still working on the reel up at the top, adding some blue to that. And I'm keeping this one pretty simple, you guys. I am just going to go ahead and glue the entire cut file down, and then I'm going to use the letters that are on the inside. Now the important part of this is to do this quickly, because once this glue sets up, it doesn't leave you any room for wiggle room. And I want to make excuse me, I want to make sure that my letters fit inside without any gaps, because every once in a while, like that swoosh on the R might be a little wider than I wanted, because I kind of wiggled it around on the page, so it might have not stayed in its original placement from when it was cut. And you don't want to have a gap between the blue letters and the white outline. So you do it kind of quick, so that if there is a gap, you can kind of like wiggle them back together. And this one worked out really perfectly for me. Somehow in the process of pulling the letters out of the baggie they came in, I lost the center of one of my E's. And so I just took the other one and I used it as a template and recut a second center so that I could put my E's inside, or the little centerpiece inside. Now I'm playing with the idea of maybe using some of that corrugated cardboard, which I don't end up using. I end up just going with these tools and figuring out where I want them, and I really like the way they look. I am going to ink them up, or paint them a little bit, not ink them. I'm going to paint some of them with some acrylic paint pens, and I will put a link down below to the paint pens if you're interested in that. They're just off of Amazon, and you can buy them in a fine tip, which is what I have, or you can buy them in a wide tip if you're painting larger items, like maybe some household decor or home decor. But for this layout, it's so much easier to use the fine tip because you got little tiny nooks and crannies of these guys. Now I am pulling the mask off the tops of these, and you can use like Gorilla Tape or not masking tape, duct tape over the top if you have a lot of little tiny pieces that need to be pulled off. If you burnish it on there by rubbing your finger over the tape that you're putting on it and then peel it off, it will peel the masking off for you. So if you feel like that's a chore that you don't want to take on, know you can use some tape to go ahead and do that. So I'm just going ahead and coloring up these tools. I am going with this blue because I've got a lot of blue on this page, and then I'm going to add some yellow because blue and yellow go great together. And you know, pencils off, most pencils, like a standard pencil I should say, comes in yellow, and tape measures, I feel like the tape on the tape measure is almost always yellow. So I thought yellow and blue work well together, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and use. And I didn't want to color every single bit of each one. I just wanted to leave them kind of, some of them natural. Of course the wood planks I'm leaving natural as well. Now I will do a little bit of writing on this layout. I'm just going to make a little journaling spot here using some Catherine Pooler ink, and I am going to just hand cut this label out. The label is, I believe, from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and I'll put the link to that down below if I can find it. And then the ink pad is from Catherine Pooler, and it is called Lemon Chiffon. So I will put a link for that down below as well. And just using a navy blue Muji pen to go ahead and do a little bit of journaling there. And then my wood grain paper has a slick surface to it, so my Muji pen is not a really good choice for writing on it. So I'm using a navy blue Sharpie to go around the outside and finish off my layout so that it has a nice double sketchy line border all the way around it. While I finish that up, don't forget to check out what MK's got going on her channel today with this same cut file, and don't forget to join the 31 Days of Cut File Facebook group so that you can see more inspiration from all of the people who are participating and playing along. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe as well. I'll be back again tomorrow with another video, so come back and see me then, and we will be using the coffee pot cut file. Bye-bye.